clerk of council.
Oh, your clerk.
Yes.
This is her second day.
She came back.
Yes, I did.
This is such a great group to work with, though. They
Okay.
really care about the city, or they wouldn't be here. They're wonderful.
Oh. All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Community Development, Economic Development, Park Recreation Committee meeting. We will have a roll call
Mrs. DeGiacomo,
here.
Mrs. Mills,
Here.
Ms. Holman, Mr. Timonier,
Here.
and I'm here.
And I want to welcome our guest. We have Peggy Ducro and Christine Hill from our health department, and they have a great presentation, which they had to travel here from their new location down the street, which they'll make that announcement too. So if you need
Our address is 4239 Lake Avenue, the old Dr. Gleckler Chiropractic Clinic,
Right,
across from the soon-to-be new City Hall and new council chambers.
yeah.
So we're excited. We're getting settled in. We are open, operational, open for business. I think everybody understands that there's a few boxes and files, and we're just getting settled in. So happy to be here.
So
Would you
this
like us to
isn't the
start?
time to come down and ask for a birth certificate, is it?
No, you may come down. Oh, we've got it all. No, we're all functional. We're all functional thing. It took a village. I mean, it took, Mr. Timonier was down there a good bit. Great Wave has been down there. We've had all the services, HVAC. Everybody. We're all good now. All right, would you like us to start or? Okay. So Peggy and I are just kind of going to, just kind of ad lib and bounce back between each other. But basically, Jody asked us to please come and just do a presentation in general about the public health services in the city of Ashtabula. So we wanted to talk about that and then dive just a little bit deeper into some of the work that we are focusing on, in the department. So.
And collaborating on with our partners too, so you'll see that.
So this slide here is just to illustrate the point that Ohio Public Health, we get our authority through the Ohio Revised Code. And those are the chapters, and in Ohio, our health departments, our local health departments, there are 113 separate health departments, and they all have their own Board of Health. Funding for health departments comes in a variety of ways. Local funding through levies, permits, fees, general funds. State, you can apply for grants, there are contracts, and there's a very small per capita subsidy that we receive. And then federally, you can also apply directly to the feds for grant funding. And this makes me smile. I'll let Peggy talk about it, but if you take a look at the pictures, this is some of our hardworking groups.
And this is some of the examples of us out in the community. So the top photo is we had a COVID clinic on Bridge Street, and we have that emergency response trailer that we actually got from grant funding back from H1N1.
Yeah, a long time
A
ago.
long time ago, but we utilize it to keep it stocked and ready to go for emergency response. And then bottom left is us at a ACMC and the health departments. We collaborated together to do COVID clinics at their Lake Avenue office as well when we were kind of in the height of things. And then the next picture to the right of that is Christine, Nicole, Andrus, and then myself at the RAM clinic, which is held at Lakeside High School. It will be coming up April, the weekend of the 13th. And then the bottom left is Terry, our environmental health director, and then Libby Holden from the county health department. They were at ATEC for a tire cleanup, that kind of stuff. And then the bottom right, it was a fun day. We got to go to Penny Dock. I don't think it's called that anymore, but is it still Penny Dock? One of the boats came in, and they had all these gentlemen from other countries, and we got to go and do their COVID vaccines because they weren't allowed off the ship and things like that. So that was kind of neat. So our department itself is is a small department. We have 4 full-time employees. 2 positions were increased to full-time during COVID with grant funding, which included the health commissioner and then myself. And I actually job share with another nurse to make up a full-time position, which is the Nicole Andress. And then we have our other full-time is our EH director, Terry, and Mari Angeli Montalvo. She's our registrar and administrative assistant for the department. You can see our annual budget. We do have our local board of health, and there's a photo later on. You'll see City Council appoints or approves the appointment from Mr. Timonier for our board members, and we do have an opening if anyone is interested to be on our Board of Health. We do a lot of collaboration, again, in partnership with others. We're part of the Northeast region with Cuyahoga County. They kind of are lead for emergency preparedness things, and then we also partner a great bit with the other 2 health departments in the county, the County Health Department and Conneaut City Health Department. And then this is just our department org chart. All of those positions aren't necessarily filled, but that's what we have in the city's ordinance. And then here is our Board of Health. Mr. Timonier is president by default of his position. David DeGeorge from Lakeway Restaurant, Terrence Guerrero, who has stepped down now that he is on City Council. Ruth Simon is a former nurse practitioner. Maria Fowler is a pharmacist and owner of Hoffman's. And then Chris Seifert, who is not pictured, is a former educator in the community. And then, do you want to?
Yeah, so this is this wheel. This is actually an illustration that comes from the CDC, but this is sort of the driver of our services and helps you understand a little bit about what we do. Equity is in the center of everything that we do. And, it's a little bit of a busy slide, but it does talk about, assessing what our community needs, looking at policy development, assuring that things are getting done. So, this is the model that we use for the 10 essential services of public health. I want to speak a little bit about public health accreditation, which is Jim's absolute favorite topic because we talk about it often. Accreditation for public health is a mandate. We must become accredited. We must become accredited by the year 2025. This is different. Ohio is the only state in the United States that requires accreditation. Accreditation actually it was set up to be a voluntary, kind of a feather in your cap kind of a thing, but Ohio felt very strongly that all citizens in Ohio should be served by an accredited public health department. This has been a very heavy lift for our small department. It's a lot of documentation. Peggy served as our accreditation coordinator on top of her other duties. You just have to document. There's 12 domains, just all this work. We know we do the work. How well did we document the work we do? And I know Jody understands this too, especially being a nurse. If it wasn't documented, it wasn't done. So we are immersed in accreditation. We have had we have submitted all our documentation. We had a very, very successful site visit. It was very exciting. We were hoping to get accredited right off the rip. It is very rare to get accredited right off the rip. We did get an action plan, and we were just so excited to only have 17 areas that they felt were only slightly demonstrated, needed a little more documentation. So we feel very empowered, very comfortable, very excited to move forward, and we're working on this resubmission of the additional documents. So, hopefully we'll have a word on that. Once we get accredited, we continue with the work of accreditation. Every year we submit a report. Every 5 years we reapply for accreditation completely. So that's kind of our accreditation journey. I will say it's been a lot of work. We do feel the benefits of it. It really has kind of helped us with some of our processes. Helps us with some things that if you want to have some data, some way to communicate something, it's just a little more organized. It's things we've always done, but now we've got it super organized. So we're excited about it. So stay tuned on the accreditation journey.
And of the 17 documents, it's 300 plus that we had to submit, so we're very pleased to only have 17 kicked back.
A colleague of
And
mine.
the standards are the same regardless of the size of your health department. Cleveland City, Columbus Public Health, we all have the same standards that we have to meet. And again, as a small department,
It was a lot.
quite creative to check
Yes,
a
and my
lot of those
staff has
boxes.
been and the board has been so supportive, So we did touch bases on this briefly. There are 3 health departments in the county of Ashtabula. So Ashtabula, has a very big footprint. It's a large county. And we 3 health departments, we call ourselves HDAC, Health Departments of Ashtabula County. We work very well together. And are part of that collaboration, and we to the point where we even have a public health logo with all 3 of us on there when we do projects that are together. So this slide is also busy, but we wanted to just show you the services and the programs that we're responsible for. So any of the programs that you see that have an asterisk, those are mandated programs, mandated by law, must be done. Other programs that you see on there are programs that are done, by the different health departments. Not everybody does everything. We also, our other function is to be sure our citizens get the resources they need. So if it's a program we do, great. If it's a program we don't do, we find out who does it and we make that referral. So you can see under nursing, I don't know, I'll let Peggy talk a little bit of nursing. That's her area.
Yeah, so disease surveillance, again, with the ORC, there's required diseases that are reported to the state of Ohio. So all labs, anyone doing the testing is required to report those to the jurisdiction in which the person lives in. And so we do the investigation, we do the follow-up, we find out treatment, we may make referrals, that type of stuff. With the disease reporting also it goes along and it ties in with the environmental health department. Sometimes there's outbreaks. There might be a foodborne outbreak or a waterborne outbreak where we work together with the environmental health department. Terry may go see the restaurant. We're doing the interviews of the people that had eaten there. Is there food that needs to be submitted? Those types of things. We also partner with Terry a lot on lead inspections in the home for children. The state has a requirement that children on Medicaid have a lead drawn at their 1-year and 2-year visit. The standards are kind of fluid. They change. I don't know if it's every 5 years or, but recently there's no safe lead level. So recently the guidelines have changed. So anything under 10, the state now will manage. Anything over 10, we at the local department are required to follow up. We go do a home visit. We provide education, things like that. There are some abatement programs available through the state. We've done several home visits where people have had to have their whole house sided or had windows replaced, which obviously is a pricey thing. And so we can help them with referrals to get some grant funding to get those things taken care of. Health education, obviously we do vaccinations, TB case management, tobacco education. The Narcan distribution and clean needle exchange, we partner with the county health department to do that. They received a harm reduction grant, and so we're working with them. We go to Top Key Library and our library. I feel like it's monthly for Top Key and every 3rd month.
Every other month for both libraries.
Both libraries. And then
we give away the naloxone at the Narcan, the naloxone at those libraries.
As well as fentanyl testing strips. And then we also have those available at the health department if anybody is interested.
I can talk a little bit vital statistics. So we have all birth certificates for anybody born in Ohio. You can come to our department and get a birth certificate. We have death certificates. Soon death certificates will be available for anybody who died in Ohio at any health department, but right now you still have to go to the place where the person died. That's how you get the birth or the death certificate. So if they died in Cleveland, you have to go up to Cleveland Health Department or do it through the mail. We do burial permits, and we help with genealogy under vital statistics. I'm going to talk in later slides about the CHIP and strategic priorities, but CHIP is the Community Health Improvement Plan, And we talked about FAB accreditation. We want to touch bases real quick on environmental health. That is a one-man employee in our health department. She is a very, very busy girl. She does all the licensures for food service, retail food establishments, campgrounds, RV parks. She does marinas, she does body art, she does tobacco, and then she does manufactured homes. And so just so many programs. On top of that, she does nuisances, abates nuisances, checks into complaints. She does swimming pools and beaches, tobacco enforcement, Smoke-Free Ohio law enforcement, and as Peggy said, high lead levels. So very, very busy program. Nursing helps in some of those, and I also help her in some of those. And then just to touch bases with you about emergency preparedness, we have the Ohio Public Health Communication System, a Marks radio. We have drills and exercises. We have emergency plans. We do after actions, and just do a lot of planning, which I will tell you during COVID that we reap the benefits of doing the planning. Because if you don't know your community partners, you're in trouble. And we feel so blessed to be in this community and have such great agencies and partnerships. We got a lot of support during COVID, and even though nothing in a million years could have fit the COVID pandemic exactly, we had the bones of what could happen in a pandemic and what to do. And that is also very important.
And so this is showing again our partnership with HDEC, the Health Departments of Ashtabula County. One of the requirements of the accreditation is that you do a community health assessment, but we have been doing them prior to it even being a requirement. And so we've had a long history of assessing what's going on in our community to see how we can move the needle and make some changes. And this is just some front sheets of some previous assessments and improvement plans. And then this is the current 2023-2025 improvement plan. And what we passed out, excuse me, earlier is our quarterly report for quarter 3. The quarter 4 report, we're having a meeting January 22nd to go over that data. But what it shows is that we're all working, hospitals, health departments, EMS, schools, mental health,
Long-term care, mental health.
City Council, the Board of Health. I mean, everybody's working together to kind of move the needle on the 3 areas that we felt, based on those assessments, were the highest need. And so one is obesity, one is access to care, and then the other is depression and anxiety across the lifespan. And so there's our priorities again. This is what you've got in your hands, the 3rd quarter report. And then Christine and Jody and I are on the Access to Care Committee. So each of those 3 goals are broken down into committees that then come up with action steps to try to make improvement in those areas. And so our Access to Care Committee meets monthly at the County Health Department. And again, similar agencies, schools, hospitals, 211 is on that. And we talk about how we can improve access to care in the county. Again, Chris mentioned our county geographically has a large footprint, so a lot of South County has issues getting access to care. We're very fortunate to have the hospital up the street, but part of one of the goals in this access to care is the broadband access and having the options for telehealth for people, things like that. So that's something that the county's been working very hard to provide to the people in South County. And so one of our goals in our Access to Care Committee is to partner with the broadband agencies, I guess there, to find out what services they can offer to people, where they can get telehealth if they're not established with a doctor, that kind of thing. So we're working on an education promotion for that once everything's up and running. And then there's just a picture of some of our staff at our beautiful trailer.
So, and I really appreciate Jody being part of our Access to Care Committee. That's a really heavy lift. Access to care is a complicated topic. That didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to get fixed overnight, but our committee they really care, and we've come up with some strategies that already we've got boots on the ground. Community health workers is one of our strategies, and something that we're looking at in the health department. These are folks that live in our community, are known in our community, know people in our community, and are trusted. And hopefully can make that connection to people who aren't getting the services and get them find out what the barrier is and try to get them the services they need. And like Peggy was saying, there are other barriers as far as internet and services especially in South County, and just so many things that we're taking a look at and trying to put into action. And the accountability on being on these committees is one thing to do all this work, but if you don't demonstrate what you're doing, it's not really very transparent. So we have websites that you can go to, Ashtabula County Health dot, is it
Healthy
.org?
Ashtabula
Healthy
County.
Ashtabula County. Yeah, and you can track our progress. You can look to see, and we'll say it's not started, or it is started and we've gone this far. And just like anything else, a lot of the things that are driving this is money. You can have great ideas, but if you don't have the money to do it, you don't. So we are always looking for grants and opportunities to partner with people who have the resources. So, we're very, very proud and so happy that Jody's part of that committee, and so happy you gave us a chance to talk a little bit about our work. So we're happy to take any questions or listen to comments that you have to make.
And invite you to any of our committees if anybody's interested in joining another one.
Well, I just like to
Do you
say,
have?
We have the Access to Care Committee, the obesity, as well as the anxiety depression one. And if anybody's interested, just email me, pducro@cityofashtabula.com,
and I
I can
enjoy
connect you.
that committee. It's so much. And I think they do great work in moving forward even more. And that was my question, because when I looked at the Healthy Ashtabula County, so is that live now?
Yes.
Yeah, it just very recently.
Okay.
Yeah. And it is a work in progress.
It's wonderful. And I noticed on that it even gave resources of where produce, and there's like free yoga I saw in Geneva and Jefferson and Ashtabula. So it encompasses all different things, like mind, body, spirit, when you're thinking of the whole person to enhance them. But I just was sort of playing around with that, and I was talking to the city manager if we could find a way that we could put that on our city site, so that would be down there in the drop down. Encourage people to go and click on that, and it gives you more information. So
Yeah.
we're looking into that. Healthy Ashtabula County. No, you're not able to.
I will send it to you via email.
healthyashtabulacounty.org.
That sounds
Be,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No? Can't find? Is it .com? It just got
Yeah, I
launched.
was sort of playing around with it, and I thought, oh, this is great. And they can keep adding on to that. And I think health departments, like, we wanted to have you because when Jane and I were talking, I think in years past here, it was, you take your kids, you're going to get their shot and all that kind of stuff. And when you look at all the things that you do on that list, I was just thinking, like, how the heck are you doing that with the staffing that you have? It's absolutely amazing.
That's what
the
I
different
thought this whole time.
Yeah, how
Everything that you do, how?
Because they're
We're open to
super
more help.
people. They're super people. No, they really are. And I mean,
There's
like
a
I say,
lot.
I've been impressed by my staff for years, and they just keep wowing me. Just like you say, that's a heavy list. It's a lot. And just even with this recent move, just I don't even have to ask. They just pitch in. They pack their boxes. They organized. They're in it. They bought in. They want to see this city succeed. They want the best for the citizens.
This is
so.
fantastic because when you think vital statistics and under nursing, but I don't think folks are thinking of a lot of the other things that have animal bites and swimming pools and, a lot of these things I didn't realize as I'm, looking through this now. So more education. And I was going to ask you, do you still do the Medical Reserve Corps? Is it currently active or?
So Medical Reserve Corps is something that the county health department, they get a grant. It's the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant, and one sliver of that grant is focused on the Medical Reserve Corps and trying to cultivate that and get that going and the training. So yes, it is still active. Elizabeth Holden is the FEP coordinator for all 3 health departments, and that is her baby. So,
Because I was in that years ago, and I helped when it was the H1N1 with the phone calls and all that, and sort of got out of the loop. So actually, if you send me that contact or whatever,
yeah, we can do that. Yes.
I enjoyed, working with that bunch and sort of got out of the loop of that. But when I saw that on there, that sort of rang a bell. But
I'll tell you, we're never bored. It's always so busy, and it's evolves. Public health has evolved. Now we've really taken a focus. I told you, equity's at the center of everything we do. We realize that there's language barriers for many people. So we've recently gotten a machine called a Marty. Well, it's not a machine, but it's a website that we go to that does translation. Because that really came to the surface during COVID, how many people don't speak English or don't speak it well. And, just really, really helps us out. And it's amazing the languages that we run into. The picture of the nursing division at the shipyard, those folks spoke Tagalog. So to get things translated in their language and have that translation service was just invaluable.
So is that just something small or?
Yeah, it's actually on your phone. We have them on our.
It's like an app.
Yes.
Yes.
We pay, pay by the minute for those services, but it is so helpful.
And it's video or verbal, so it also does American Sign Language. And from our trainings with it, you're not to talk to the computer. You talk to the person, and then the computer's here doing the translation. So they don't want to ever alienate somebody and make it feel like you're, talking to the computer. And so you have your regular conversation, and they're basically just not word for word, and they explain that to us, that translation is very different in that, again, with cultures, if we say to someone lie down, it might be very different in their culture and in their language. They're going to say, please get on the bed on your back, so they're not going to do it. And so that's what they said, a lot of times when the translation's like, I may ask a simple question and think I'm going to get a few word answer, and they're saying for 2 minutes, ba 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 ba, and I'm like, what else have you added to this conversation?
Yeah.
So that was something I didn't understand with translation services. So
neat.
Well, that's been a big plus. And, just like I say, it's just evolving, I don't know. It's just always exciting, always evolving. And so we're really, really, really excited about our new building. We're excited to be at the street level. I think it's a lot easier for people to, access the building and things like that. So.
Is the parking working out there for you?
Yeah, it's a little tight, but I think especially when your area is good, when you're open, that'll give a little overflow parking, so I think it'll be good. Yeah, the thing about the health department is people kind of come and go. They usually don't stay real long. So it's not a huge parking lot, but it's working.
Good. So I have some questions. You talked about lead. Do you do anything with asbestos?
not right now.
No, I know that Terry Collette, our environmental health director, will make referrals. Just because she doesn't do it herself, it means that she will find you that connection for indoor air quality that you need for that.
And then when you talked about obesity, do you work with the YMCA at all? Is that
We
a
are
partner?
on the committee, yeah.
We've done many initiatives with them.
Good.
Yeah, and we're excited about our new neighbors, the GG Market. We foresee a partnership with them, maybe about fresh fruit, and maybe
That's
they'll let us in,
awesome.
and we like to make friends everywhere we go.
That's awesome.
And, we're so close to the senior center, that is so nice. We've done
Oh,
many,
that's
many
true.
things with them there, and it's all very walkable, being relocated down at the end of Maine, so.
That's awesome. Does anyone else have any questions? Anyone in the audience?
I have. May I
Go
have
ahead.
a little
Yes,
bit?
yeah.
Okay, so you guys talked about access to care. So in the African American community, African American women are more likely to die in childbirth than a white woman. So white women are our other counterparts. Do you guys have like access to doula services? Or are you guys doing any advocating for women in childbirth?
Yeah,
We have some literature, I can't think, something, it's in the third trimester, Count the Kicks. But we no longer have a birthing hospital in the city or the county, so that's been a hurdle. And so,
this
prior to
doula
that, we
movement,
used
though,
to
is so
go-
exciting, I think. I just had, so much goes across my computer, getting them certified and recognized for the work they do, So, yes, I think that's very life-saving and changing. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge since we don't have a birthing hospital.
and so we're
Can
kind of
you back
dependent
up
on
and
our
say
WIC
what that is?
partners to help with the pregnant moms to make those referrals to get, that information out. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
What was it?
Doula.
Yeah, what is that?
So a doula is a person that
A
helps the
midwife.
mother during birth
Similar.
and advocates for the person because, sometimes the doctors are in and out and they can't really, they're not there all the time. So the doula helps with the birth process and sometimes after birth or lactation if they're breastfeeding.
I think it's almost like a pregnancy coach.
Yeah.
Like they're in there with you, and just help you sort out, factual information. Should I breastfeed or should I not? Or, just there's a lot for these young moms. And so, yeah, all of that. And yeah, I think that movement is great. We had a part-time nurse before COVID or just at the beginning of COVID, and she was a doula. And I just thought it was but she's moved on. But I just think that whole movement is so exciting, and I think it will make it. I hope it moves the needle because in this day and age, that's we want to see better outcomes.
Right.
We can do better.
Yes.
We can do better.
Thank you.
Chris, can I ask you, take off on that? Do we have any birth statistics since we don't have a birthing hospital, like as,
Like how
survival
many,
rates or
how many people are in being
where
born
are
in
we
the
at?
ER?
Yeah, the Ohio Department of Health, we're getting better at statistics. The Ohio Department of Health has a statistical database that is very daunting. And it is recently been kind of revamped, a little bit more user-friendly. Still, I think you've had to have taken a statistical course to set up the search that you're after to get the data that you want. But yes, that data is there, and that's a big part of the community health assessment, because if you don't have that data to start with and then you make improvements, how do you know? So data drives everything. Everything. So, yes, the data's there, and yes, we can, if there's a particular thing you're after, come see us. If we can't figure out how to get it out of the Ohio data warehouse, somebody at the Ohio Department of Health will help us. My biggest frustration through my career is, though, that so much data is not at the city level. It is at the county level. And it's frustrating to me to know, am I moving the needle? It is getting better. It is getting more granular. We are starting to see things even at the census tract level, and that is helpful. That helps me a good deal. So I'm happy with how the data is trending. We need some really smart young people to, gel it together. But yeah, it's all there, and we do use data. We rely on it heavily for the community health assessment and for the CHIP to know whether we're making this progress or not.
Because I didn't know, I know they have that group that Ms. Holman's on, is it Racism for Public
Yeah,
Health?
the Committee on Racism.
And so
Yeah.
I didn't know if there's data that you would be able to, city data you could pull up that would be to see categories of races where there's could be hypertension or diabetes, or because I think that's, I don't know if any of those stats would help that group at all, but I don't know if they have a way to access that. If maybe
Yeah, in our
I could even mention to
community, of
them
course,
to
we have
reach out. I
diversity.
don't know.
We have lots of races and lots of folks.
Yeah.
But I think the thing for our community is the poverty. That's the equal opportunity that's going to just really drive those outcomes down. Peggy just sent me a note. We just had a presentation from a young man. His mother is part of that committee on racism, Jessica Lovato, and his name is Liam. I just love these young guys. And he did a presentation to the Board of Health. I don't know, Jim, you were there. It was just so fantastic. It was truly GIS data by city specific, by the neighborhood, about social determinants of health, and housing and crime, and just he had lots of good information, and I'm really happy to share that. You guys may want to hear from him. His presentation, his report, his study was very eye-opening. Things I think we know, but it actually put data to it.
And he actually spoke at one of those committees.
I
they had it at
did-
Kent.
I
yeah.
attended
Oh, did you go to the Kent State?
Yeah.
Yes, that young man. That's who we're talking about. So, he's out. He was out there. We were happy to have him come speak. So, yeah, we know that the outcomes could be better.
And that's kind of tailoring into that community health worker, trying to find somebody in the neighborhood that's a trusted source that doesn't have to have a medical background. They get some training where they might learn how to take a blood pressure. They go into the home, they visit with that person, they chit chat, they can pull a lot of information, and then they can help be that conduit to get them, like, I've come to see you 3 weeks in a row, and your blood pressure's da 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 da. Do you want to talk again about maybe setting up a telehealth visit? I can help you. I'll come and sit with you while we do it, and maybe we can work transportation to get you to go see somebody at the clinic. And I think Community Action, ACCAA, whatever their full long title, they are starting a program with those community health workers, and so we're going to partner with them to try and find those people in our community that are that trusted source, and see if we can start to get the people that need those services linked to those services because they trust the person that's connecting them.
I think you're right. I know when I work at the RAM USA and I do those initial assessments, you might just come in because you want some eyeglasses or dental, and I'm finding your blood pressure's off the Richter scale, and then that happens. You're sitting, you're having a conversation. I wish we had more time, and then I'm finding out all these things, so you're trying to triage it like a little bit more. So if you meet somebody where they're at or whatever, yeah, you can see where that could change somebody's life, because you're just going for one thing and you're finding like 10 things, which is overwhelming. You chip at them a little bit at a time, but a lot of things are hidden, and you don't, like a blood pressure, the silent killer, so to speak. It's not like a cut on your arm that you're going to see.
Right.
So until somebody checks that for you.
And I think, and part of it's just culturally, we're all, busy people, and, we try to get it across that, you're such a good mother to your children, but if you don't take care of yourself, nobody will, take care of your kids for you. So you need to take care of yourself. They always make sure their kids get their teeth checked, and this done for their children, and that done for their children, but the adults are
Right.
sometimes neglect themselves. So RAM is such a empowering thing, to go with.
And your health is wealth. And so to try to, sometimes it's not like it's like the funnest thing, but you try to make it with eating or meals or whatever, but at the end of the day, your health is wealth. So you two ladies are a very important part to our city.
Thank you.
I mean, can't
Thank
say
you
enough.
for coming here, and I continue to be in awe and impressed by you,
Aw.
truthfully. Truthfully,
Thank you.
truthfully.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah,
right back at you. We're just one, cog in the wheel. You guys have a whole wheel to
An
turn,
important,
so.
important
The
cause.
city is blessed with our health department, so, and your presentation is amazing and the work you do. I apologize that, when we scheduled this, it just happened to be with your move and everything. This couldn't have been like the worst timing.
It's all right. It's all right. There's always something, and we're happy, and it gives us a chance to highlight our new building. And so we're going to
that's
in the
exciting.
very near future have just an open. I mean, anybody can stop at any time, but we're going to have like just an open house when we got it polished
Well,
up
I
a
was
little bit
wondering.
more, and have people come and have some refreshments, and just have a good day.
Healthy refreshments.
Healthy
Wink, wink.
refreshments, absolutely, always.
Cookies.
Cut up that watermelon and that fruit, yay! All right, guys, thank you again
Thank
for
you.
having us, and we
Thank
appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much. I'm sure we'll have questions after you leave, so we can always email you and,
We can come back anytime.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do think I have somebody for one of your committees. Ms. Jane. I'm winking, wink, wink. Yeah.
Jody tries to keep me ultra busy, like I'm not ultra busy already. Anytime I have a day off, she goes, "Oh, you're not babysitting today. Do you want to do these 10 things?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, no." Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Nice to meet you as well.
Please come down.
I will.
Staff, meet the crew.
I will. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Everybody, be careful driving.
Yeah, it's gonna be icy. All right. City managers report.
Not much to report, just, on the economic development and community development side, still monitoring all of the development that's currently going on. Looks like DG Market is going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. I think they've been stocking shelves. So we haven't been told a open date, but I do anticipate that will be soon. Of course, the Chestnut Village and ACMC projects are still ongoing, as well as the hotel. So getting those wrapped up. We're also meeting with a lot of different people about expansions and different zoning issues that some may be having with some of their expansions or remodeling going on. So it's still been a busy time. Usually December, January, we kind of slow down as everybody kind of, closes down the year and then gets fired up for the following. It has not stopped. It's been nonstop, which is a good thing for us. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
So I just want to add to that. It's fun now. So usually for me, driving around is driving through the wards looking for things that I need to notice. But now it's fun to drive around Ashtabula and look at how all the new building is developing.
Yeah, it's changed.
it's
It's
like-
changed the landscape.
I have an
Mhm.
exciting life. All right.
We forgot the bus garage too.
Bus
That's
garage too
another
is coming
one.
along. Yeah.
Yeah, because
bus
I do
station.
that. I do my drive around.
So there's a couple things. Do you want to? You don't. You're like, no. So I just want to do there's a couple things from Parks and Rec. The big thing is they need more members. So if you are out there in Facebook land and you think, I would like to volunteer and help on a committee for the city of Ashtabula and be on the Parks Board, they really need you. And can you tell us how I would go about getting that application, Jim?
Yeah, the application's on the city's website. It's under boards and commissions, and you can apply there and send it on in, and we'll take a look at it.
And the other thing that Margaret Disler brought up, which I thought was a genius idea, there are over 500 million pickleballs manufactured in a year, and the majority end up in landfills. There's a company that will send you a bin for free to put at your courts. Then when you fill the bin, they will send you a postage paid mailing label so that the balls can be recycled. The only thing you would need is a box to mail them in. She's gonna send everyone the information in the company. So, those are the what? Yep, it was. All right.
Madam Chair, just to go over a couple of things that were in their minutes, I thought we had discussed these, or maybe I sent a message to Mr. Vanio prior to their meeting, but this question has come up before, and I think I've answered it before about the beach mats, about getting it closer to the water's edge. The distance that it's at from the water's edge right now was actually recommended to us by ODNR due to the currents and the tide that comes in and out. They didn't recommend putting it any closer than that for fear that it would be damaged or washed, especially in some of the storms. So that's the reason that that distance was chosen for that. I've also mentioned a couple times that we are working with the Hubbard House about the tree that's partially blocking the Walnut Beach sign. They have some landscaping going on and some design there, so it's a matter of whether we're just going to trim that tree or take it down. I wasn't going to go out in there and trim it if it was going to be eventually taken down, as the cost to do that is not very different for both of those. We will be putting out the remainder of Smithfield for the bid here pretty soon. All that's left to do is readjusting the fencing and then doing the tennis court and basketball court there. So that bid will be going out soon. That project will be done this summer. And then, trying to think if there was anything else that we didn't touch on. That's all I have. I did have a conversation at the end of the year with the board of MRDD about, we had talked about doing a inclusion park / sensory park, and we were talking about different funding opportunities that may be available this year. So that conversation has again come up, and hopefully we'll be able to put a plan in place this year for some type of playground like that, because they are, as I said before, very interested in that. We've just had some things come up that might make it possible to at least really start down the road this year on a project like that.
Good, that'll be outstanding.
Yeah.
And then Jody, did you want to mention the cleanup?
The cleanup this year is April 20th, and we're just hoping that we get more groups. And that will be on a Saturday morning, rain or shine. Hopefully, it's not going to rain this year.
We're not sugar, we won't melt.
Yeah, if there's an area that you think is needing attention, you can let Mr. Giacomo or myself know. You can reach out to us or the clerk with an email or a call about groups, and we're going to start our meeting this month, and then work on sending those contacts out to the groups that we already have established, but we want to add more on. So the more the merrier. And if you call and you just say you just want to work on an area on your street, get your neighbors, work on, just in your neighborhood. So you can maybe a way to get to know your neighbors. In years past, I think neighborhoods have changed. It would be, you had the same neighbors for 30, 40 years or whatever, and things have changed, new owners. So that's a good way to get to know your neighbors. If you have an elderly neighbor next door, maybe they always kept their yard nice or whatever, to lend a hand. So it doesn't have to be, if you don't want to physically come to the cleanup that day and go somewhere, you want to be right on your street, that's fine, whatever. We just encourage everybody to think about it's springtime and getting things cleaned up. So
Good.
looking forward to that.
So,
I like to clean.
So I don't think we have any unfinished business. Do we have any new business? Our next meeting will be February 27th at 5 p.m. I guess the location to be decided, depending on if the city of Ashtabula has moved or not. So, and that's all we have.
Oh, wait 1 second.
What?
We do have a guest, and that is Patty
Baldwin.
Baldwin from the United Way. So she'll be at our February meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, meeting adjourned. I just like doing